This is Augustana Sportscene, a weekly update on Viking athletics at South Dakota's largest private college. Enjoy the action and excitement of NCAA Division II athletics at Augustana.
Welcome to Augustana Sportscene. On this week's show, we'll take a look at our Augustana Sports Update. We'll also visit with football coach Mike Aldrich and volleyball coach Ashley Buckley. In our Augustana Sports Focus, we'll catch up with cross-country coach Tracy Hellman, and we'll get you updated on what's ahead in Augie Sports with our Augustana Sports calendar. So let's get the action rolling. Here comes Augustana Sports Update for this week.
Augie Sports Update is brought to you by Schoenemann's.
Last Saturday, Coach Brandon Barkas's Augustana women's soccer team picked up a 2-1 double overtime victory in their NSIC conference opener at Northern State University. Mackenzie Trom's goal gave the Vikings the win. Trom also assisted on the Vikings' other goal, which was scored by Stacy Daly. Goalkeeper Amanda Wagner had 6 saves for Augustana. The Vikings outshot the Wolves 30-13 as they improved their record to 3-2 on the season. In football, Coach Mike Aldrich's team came out on the short end of a 10-0 game at the University of Mary. In the first half, the Vikings moved the ball effectively, but could not score as Drew Behrens missed 2 field goals and had 1 blocked. Mary scored on a 24-yard pass play late in the second quarter to go up 7-0 at halftime. The Marauders added a late-game field goal on their way to their second win of the season. For Augustana, quarterback Josh Hansen completed 15 of 31 passes for 195 yards. Sam Holson surpassed 100 yards receiving for the 5th time in his career, catching 8 passes for 152 yards. Austin Lukey led the Vikings on defense, finishing with a game-high 14 tackles. In volleyball, Coach Ashley Buckley's team began NSIC action with a pair of road matches. The Vikings fell 3-0 to Upper Iowa and 3-1 to Winona State. In the Upper Iowa match, Brooke Luco and Jordan Spatanka each had 8 kills. Christine Bilski had 13 digs and Kayla Walrick 27 set assists. Against Winona, Spatanka led the way with 11 kills, with Courtney Yisker adding 10. Kayla Walrick had 34 assists, and Christine Bilski had 20 digs. In men's golf, Coach Steve Klock's team competed at the NSIC Fall Preview Tournament in Hudson, Wisconsin. Top finisher for the Vikings was C.J. Hawcom with a 2-day score of 153. Kyle Coplin and Luke Robeson had the next best scores for Augustana. And in women's golf, Coach Peggy Kirby's team finished 3rd at the Drury Fall Shootout in Bolivar, Missouri. The Vikings shot a 6-12 over the 2-day event and were led by freshman Jordan Price, who shot a 153. Next in line for Augustana were Maggie Leland and Allie Ostrander, who both shot 154s. That's our sports update for this week. When we come back, we'll talk Augustana football with Coach Mike Aldrich. Stay with us.
Augustana Sportscene is brought to you by Sanford Health, improving the human condition. By Schoenemann's, your trusted building center since 1888. And by Mid-Continent Communications, part of your community.
When I was young, I loved helping my grandfather with projects. From building a birdhouse to odd jobs around the house, we always got our supplies from Schoenemann's. I remember the smell of the fresh-cut lumber and all the bins full of nails, nuts, and bolts. Today, my projects are a bit bigger, and so is Schoenemann's selection. I rely on them for everything I need.
Schoenemann's in Sioux Falls and Harrisburg. Expert advice, everything you need.
You can always do it right with Schoenemann's.
The all-new midsize 2012 Passat with dual-zone automatic climate control, Bluetooth, and scheduled carefree maintenance included. The Passat has more premium standard features than its competitors. That's the power of German engineering.
Hey, you always make my day.
You may have met one. The teachers who challenge. The ones who motivate. The ones who can fire imagination. The ones, in short, that you'll find at Augustana. Now, maybe you don't believe that one college could have so many great professors. If so, you're in for an education. Augustana.
He has what he needs to make it. He has the speed, thanks to Sanford Power. He has Sanford athletic trainers to help avoid injuries. He has Sanford doctors to help him if they happen. But most important, he loves the game. That's no surprise. He has a lot of me in him.
Get stronger, play smarter. Return to performance. Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
The Augustana Football Report is brought to you by Sanford Health.
Joining me now is Augustana head football coach Mike Aldrich. Mike, last Saturday afternoon, the Vikings hit the road for the first time, traveled up to the University of Mary, and it was a hard-fought game, but we came up on the short end.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we had a lot of anticipation going into that game. We thought we matched up really well, and that we were going to have some good successes. I mean, we knew that Mary's offense was, at the time, was the number 4 total offense team in the country. And so we liked that challenge with our defense, especially we thought we played bad the second game, and we wanted to see if we'd bounce back. And, you know, I thought we did a very good job of doing that. We gave up a total of 10 points. They didn't run the ball very well, I think about 2 yards a play. And their passing yards are a little skewed just on basically one deep pass on one of our sophomore corners. It was his first start, so you can kind of live with those because he's going to learn from it. But offensively, we sputtered in and out. We would get ourselves down into the red zone. We didn't convert on 3 field goals. 2 of them were pushed wide right. Another one was blocked. So that's just points that we left out on the field. And there was 2 other times we got into the red zone and we ended up having to punt because we went backwards. So it was a tough day up there. Offensively, and special teams weren't real great either.
Well, let's take it into a little more detail here. The bright spot of the game, I think, was the defense. Unfortunately, they were on the field a lot too, but talk about some of the shining stars on defense.
Well, Austin Lukey had another big day. I think he was credited for 12 to 15 tackles, somewhere in that area, and he's been a leader for us. There's no doubt about that. You need somebody like that at the linebacker spot. And then in the backfield, Zach Callis had an interception. Nick Andreas had another interception, but that was called back on a roughing the passer call. Dan O'Keefe had a great day of run support. So, kind of the guys that have shown up for us all year had great games for us. And I thought we did a good job of handling Mary. They do they're kind of their no-huddle, fast-tempo type offense, and so it slows down any substitutions you can do on defense, and I thought we did a good job of being able to be prepared for that and not letting that bother how we played.
Okay, and then you mentioned the challenges on offense. Talk a little bit about it. You mentioned the inconsistencies. Have you been able to put your finger on any one thing, or is it just a number of different things?
Well, I mean, it just goes down to playing hard, and if I know that the guys are themselves kind of doing some soul searching, looking for answers, but it's when you watch the video, it's all on tape, and we just didn't play very hard. We're making some bonehead mistakes where we're not using the right technique to block somebody, or we're not just cutting up in the hole and taking 2 yards when they have it plugged up instead of trying to bounce outside and get tackled for a 7-yard loss or just throwing the ball away. So there's just a lot of little things that unfortunately they all happen on different plays. So when everybody's doing good and one guy makes a mistake, it ends up kind of costing us. So hopefully we just get that chemistry down. Yeah. And we got so many returning players on that group that hopefully at some point the Beakers can kind of turn up the heat and we can have a good system going.
And you mentioned the special teams. There were some bright spots on special teams, some of the returns and that sort of thing, but we had the challenges with the field goals. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, as far as the good stuff, kick return has been really good for us this year, and we found a guy for sure, Grant Gebhardt. He's a redshirt freshman that, I mean, he's perfect back there. He's like what a lot of fans would remember Tyler Schulte used to be like when he was younger. He's got the speed, and he just gets up into the hole, and he's kind of got that no fear to make some things happen. So he's been great for us back there. And then our kickoff team, we were only out there one time, but we didn't do very well in that area. Our coverage and our kick were bad. Field goal, like you mentioned, we pushed 2 wide right, and there was a little wind up there, but not that much. And so Drew just went wide right on those two, and I think he was overthinking it because he got the first one blocked. And once he did that, then it's kind of like a pitcher trying to aim their pitches instead of just throwing the ball. So those are a couple tough parts that we had into special teams. And again, it's kind of like we're talking about with the offense, just inconsistency.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this week it's back at it on Saturday evening. Actually, a 6 o'clock game up at Southwest Minnesota State. Talk about that one.
Well, we haven't had a chance to watch them from this previous week when they played Bemidji, but they lost 41-10. And the week before they beat Mary in an offensive shootout. So defensively, we'll have our hands full. I mean, it's an offense that throws the ball around. Their quarterback Tyler Pashang he was a backup the past couple of years, so he's getting his first chance to do some things. So we haven't actually seen him play in person. So it'll be fun to do that. And then on the flip side, offensively, we're just going to keep going back to work, and just got to keep chipping away until it all kind of falls into place, and be able to see what we can do and try to score some points.
Well, Mike, get them back together, and good luck at Southwest.
I appreciate it.
The Augustana Volleyball Report is next. We'll be right back.
I want back in the game. I want to rise above the pain. I want the best Ducks to have my back, Sanford Ducks, so I can shatter backboards, shatter records. I want MVP. I want everything. But first, I want back in the game.
Get stronger, play smarter. Return to performance. Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
When I was young, I loved helping my grandfather with projects. From building a birdhouse to odd jobs around the house, we always got our supplies from Schoenemann's. I remember the smell of the fresh cut lumber and all the bins full of nails, nuts, and bolts. Today, my projects are a bit bigger, and so is Schoenemann's selection. I rely on them for everything I need.
Schoenemann's in Sioux Falls and Harrisburg. Expert advice, everything you need.
You can always do it right with Schoenemann's.
How do you hold a moment? Keep friends and family close. Witness the passage of time. Replay the glory days. Relive magical nights. Create memories to share. How do you capture a lifetime? One picture at a time. Life Touch. Photography for a lifetime.
A message from the Better Bundle Bureau. Bundle blunders. They're on the rise as more people get blunderized by the supposed savings. However, in head-to-head tests, most bundles burst, leaving customers shortchanged and under-entertained. But not the $79 Theater DVR Suite and Midconet Preferred Broadband Bundle. Lightning-fast Midconet Broadband and digital cable chock full of freebies. Get the $79 Theater DVR Suite and Midconet Preferred Broadband Bundle and avoid the bundle blunder.
The Augustana Volleyball Report is brought to you by Mid-Continent Communications.
With me now is Augustana volleyball coach Ashley Buckley. Ashley, last weekend the Vikings hit the road for their first NSIC matches at Upper Iowa and Winona State, and it was a disappointing road trip.
Yeah, we had pregame practice before our Upper Iowa match and didn't look sharp, especially at a serve-receive. And we thought we'd be able to shake it by the time the match started. But unfortunately, when we started the match, it felt like we were still sitting on the bus. We worked through the first set. It was really pretty close, tight. And the most disappointing part of it was that our players really never relaxed. They were so tight out of serve-receive. Offensively, we weren't incredibly sharp and just had a lot of unforced errors. And that's really how the match continued. The longer we allowed them to stay in the game, the more momentum they gained. And by the third set, it wasn't really even a close game. And so I was really disappointed in the way we competed. Just our lack of adjustments was something that we weren't expecting, especially after such a good weekend the weekend before.
Okay, and then it was on to Winona State, and did you play better?
In parts we played much better, actually. In Winona State, we seemed a little bit more relaxed at a serve-receive, especially compared to the night before. We were really tight with them in the first set to about 13, and then we got outscored. We couldn't get out of a serve-receive rotation, and that's kind of how the match went. It was back and forth with just different shifts of momentum. Offensively, we had great performances from Jordan Spatanka on the outside. I thought Courtney Isker came in and did what she needed to do in the front row for us. Brooke Luco was working really hard. Unfortunately, those three, though, had a double block up all night, and we couldn't get production from other areas. So another disappointing loss because they looked more fatigued than we did in a sense. They came off a big win the night before. We just couldn't get the momentum and take it.
Yeah. Well, I know you don't want to make excuses, but you have had two big injuries to your team here, losing Grace Sanders, our all-conference libero, and then also Danny Haley. How is Danny out for the year?
We're not sure yet. We'll find out this week as to her status and really what that'll do for our season. But nevertheless, we really have to figure out how to win with the players we've got, and we found a way to do it in Moorhead against good teams. But this weekend, we saw just the opposite. I mean, they didn't practice well in the gym. We were really unfocused. We kept talking about it, and it came back to haunt us this weekend. So without those two upperclassmen leaders for us, we're really struggling to figure out how to work through bouts where we aren't playing sharp and where we have a lot of unforced errors. So something we're going to focus on a lot in this weekend practice and sort of get their backs against the wall and see how they fight out of it.
Yeah, well, it is a big week of practice, here as we have home matches coming up with Marion Northern. Talk about the weekend.
This is going to be another important weekend for us. Northern right now is the same record as us, at least overall in the conference. They're ahead of us, and so we have seen them before. They are a team that fights really hard. Defensively, they're very scrappy. They rely on a couple of good offensive players for them who are doing a great job offensively. They're very consistent. So we know we need to be as sharp against them, especially in the front row because they're a big blocking team. And then Mary is a team that right now is looking to get as many wins as they can. We need to make sure that offensively we're able to score from a lot of different players. Most importantly, they run a very quick tempo offense and a very fast shoot to the outside. So we're going to focus on our blocking as well. But, I think the most important thing going into this weekend is how we play our game, because that really determines whether we're going to be in a match or not be in a match. And again, that was the most disappointing of this last weekend, as we didn't take care of business on our side. And so I think we've learned some tough lessons. I at least hope so. We'll continue to push them this week and see what we can do.
Well, we're home, and that's good. And so fans, we need your support over here for Augustana Volleyball this weekend on Friday and Saturday. Good luck, Ashley.
Thank you.
Up next, Augie Sports Focus. Stay with us.
A message from the Better Bundle Bureau. Mid-Continent Communications has the best bundle to beat boredom without busting the budget. With its $99 a month Theater DVR trio, people are downright giddy, saving over $500 a year and still being thoroughly entertained. Free HD, on-demand, the fastest broadband speeds known to man, and unlimited local and long-distance calling, all wrapped up in a nice little $99 bundle. The Theater DVR trio. It's the best bundle on earth.
We've gotten on in years. We've got aches. We've got pains. But we haven't gotten old. We've only gotten better. Now, we've got the time to play. And we've still got game. Sanford's doctors keep us hitting that sweet spot. Because we've got to give those aches and pains something to complain about.
Get stronger, play smarter. Return to performance. Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
When I was young, I loved helping my grandfather with projects. From building a birdhouse to odd jobs around the house, we always got our supplies from Schoenemann's. I remember the smell of the fresh cut lumber and all the bins full of nails, nuts, and bolts. Today, my projects are a bit bigger, and so is Schoenemann's selection. I rely on them for everything I need.
Schoenemann's in Sioux Falls and Harrisburg. Expert advice, everything you need.
You can always do it right with Schoenemann's.
Augie Sports Focus is brought to you by Schoenemann's.
Joining me now is Augustana track and cross country coach Tracy Hellman. Tracy, great to have you back on the show again. Before we talk cross country, let's go back to last spring. Tremendous season for the Viking men and women in outdoor track. Your comments?
You're right. It was a very special season. We had a lot of highlights, and it's hard to kind of talk about all the different highlights because there was just a lot of them. But I think really the top of the mountain really was we had 2 national champions, and it's always difficult to have a national champion in any particular year. And for us to have 2 in the outdoor season was really special. We had Adua Mott won the 800, and he had won the indoor 800, so he had now had the outdoor crown. And then Runa Falk won the 1500, so those 2 kids did great. Yeah. And then we had a couple other kids who were All-Americans. We had Tom Carbo in the steeplechase, Kyle Blakesley in the steeplechase. Runa Falk came back in the 5K. We just had Kristen Brownbow in the 1500. We had a lot of kids run at a high level, and I think that was pretty exciting. And then before we got to nationals, we had the women won the outdoor conference championship in track and field, which was first time since 1942 we'd won an outdoor title. So both squads just had a phenomenal year with our Drake success and then our conference and our nationals. So if we can duplicate that again this year, we'll be in a good spot.
Yeah, it was a tremendous year all the way through the year. Started with cross country and indoor and outdoor, as we discussed here. Well, it's back into the cross country season here, and the Vikings have been in camp since late in August. And they got rolling in a kind of a special meet that we had here, the Augie Twilight, which Tracy started this year, and we think is maybe the first cross-country meet, college meet under the lights ever. Yep. But talk about it.
Yeah, it's something I've been planning for a number of years, and just logistically I've never been able to pull it off. And this year we finally got everything in place to do it. And you're right, it was a night cross-country meet, which is very unusual. You don't see those much. We ran down Yankton Trails at the soccer field, so we utilized those lights there. And originally we were just going to have a small meet and ended up having 10 college teams. A ton of alumni came back and ran. We had community people out there. It was a really, really, I think, hit, and I look for it to be really popular here in the years to come. So it's just different, run at night, and I think the kids really enjoyed that aspect of it. It was fun, and it was different, and I think that was the key. And that was September 2nd, I believe.
And it was a beautiful night, too.
Yeah, it was. When you run it in the evening, it cools down, obviously, and it's just that time of year where it's pretty nice outside. So, we've been just plugging away, but that was a good meet for us to open the season with.
Yeah, well, as we film this, the Vikings are getting ready for competition here this coming weekend at the Roy Griak Invitational in Minneapolis. Talk about that.
It's one of the largest cross-country meets in the nation. You get teams from all over the country that come to it. So every year it's a different year. You never know who's going to show up, who's going to fly in and be there. But it's a good test for us to see where we're at. We won the men last year, so we're defending champions. And the women, we were fourth, I believe. So, we have goals of winning both. But I think for us, I just want to see kind of where we're at. We're not going to run every kid. We still have a couple of Norwegians that are transitioning back. But we'll have most full squads going. And so that's on Saturday at 9:30 and 11 o'clock at the University Golf Course in Minneapolis. And so that's kind of really, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be a big one like it always is. Well, let's talk about your teams, Tracy. Let's start with the ladies.
Definitely the best team we've had, I feel, since I've been here. And I think that's a strong statement because we've had some good teams. We have everybody back from the national team last year. We have multiple All-Americans in Runa Falk and Kristen Brownbow. We have upperclassmen leadership. We have some really good freshman girls that we brought in that are freshmen this year at Augustana. So we just have a lot of things in place for us to be successful. And I think in any sport, you really got to just be patient and let things fall into place, and hopefully things will work out the way they should. But I think our top kids right now are Runa Falk, Kristen Brownbow, and Kyle Blakesley have been looking like, and Leah Hansen too, they've been looking like our leaders so far. Kelly Colgo is a senior. That's been looking really good. So I look for those kids to really continue to lead us in terms of the season. And so, we're going to have some tough battles. We have the conference meet on October 22nd, and then we, want to try to get back to the Nationals and place high there. So yeah, it should be a good year in the women.
Yep, and then the guys.
Again, we have a lot of upperclassmen leadership. We have Tom Garbo back, who's an All-American. We have Travis Benyak and Paul Yak. And then we have probably one of the best freshman crew I've brought in with Adam Braun, Shane McCallan, and TJ Gleason. So we got some really good kids, I think, from the area that I think are going to help us. We're the defending champions in the conference, so hopefully we can defend that too. But so far we're looking good. But Saturday we'll know a lot more where we're at after Saturday for sure.
Well, after that one, the Vikings keep going, and then the conference is where this year?
It's in Moorhead.
It's in Moorhead, and then is the regional?
Regional is in Denver, Colorado this year. So that's going to be really a test for us to go out there and run at altitude and try to qualify for nationals. And I think we'll be in position to do that though. And then the national is November 19th in Spokane, Washington. And so, again, that's kind of where we want to put everything together and run our best.
Well, I know you have high expectations, Tracy, and we hope the Vikings do well again. So good luck to you and your teams.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
The Augustana Sports Calendar is next. We'll be right back.
The The all-new midsize 2012 Passat with dual-zone automatic climate control, Bluetooth, and scheduled carefree maintenance included. The Passat has more premium standard features than its competitors. That's the power of German engineering.
With every click of a LifeTouch camera, a school memory is captured. Education benefits. And children are safer. LifeTouch School Portraits. Great things come from great pictures.
They're not that easy to come by. The teachers who engage us. The truly gifted ones. The ones whose words stay with us for days or even years. The odds are you'll only know a few of them. Unless you go to Augustana. Then your chances are greatly improved. Augustana.
The most difficult times require the right team. Where we fight disease, discover cures, and believe in the power of play. That's the art and science of healthcare. The things we do with children every day at Sanford Children's.
The Augustana Sports Calendar is brought to you by Sanford Health.
Let's take a look at the Augustana Sports Calendar for this week. Friday, September 23rd, volleyball is home for their first match in the Elman Center at 7 o'clock against the University of Mary. Women's soccer is on the road at Minot State. On Saturday, September 24th, football plays at Southwest Minnesota State. That game kicks off at 6 p.m. Cross country is at the Roy Griak Invitational in Minneapolis. Women's golf competes in the SMSU Classic in Marshall, Minnesota. And volleyball takes on Northern State at the Elman Center at 3 o'clock. Sunday, September 25th, women's golf continues play at the SMSU Classic. Men's golf is at the NSIC Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference Crossover Tournament in Gothenburg, Nebraska. And women's soccer travels to Wayne State. Monday, September 26th, men's golf completes play in the NSIC RMAC crossover. Remember, for radio coverage of Augustana football, you can hear the Vikings on KIKN FM 100.5. That's it for this week's show. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join us again at this same time next week for another edition of Augustana Sportscene. Have a great week, everybody.
You've been watching Augustana Sportscene, a weekly update on NCAA Division II athletics at South Dakota's largest private college. Learn more about Augustana College in Sioux Falls at augie.edu.